Friday morning, and I will say it is a beautiful morning, Dick, just because it's 64 degrees outside.
It's beautiful. Going to be a great weekend.
Yes.
Had a nice rain yesterday. The farmers are happy. They're finishing up planting now. They're getting that all done and getting ready to think about summer.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
Well, I see the Rochester fireworks are still on this year, thanks to American Legion. They're doing it as they have in the past, but they need donations. So those of you out there that have in the past donated, why, that would be nice to step up again. Well, we tried to have a rocket launch a couple days ago. Weather did not permit. Now it's postponed now until tomorrow, Saturday.
Yep.
Depending on weather.
Depending on weather.
Everything depends on the weather. So.
And
this is private enterprise. This is the Space X, and which Elon Musk is the head guy in that. He can move a mountain, I think.
he can do pretty much whatever he wants, and nobody says anything to him. I mean, his kid's name is.
How much money does it cost to do this?
More than I think we're going to make in our lifetime.
Probably a good point.
Okay, you can vote today over at the courthouse if you want to. They're open from 9 to, say 8 to 5 today. And tomorrow, 8 till noon, you can vote there. If you're concerned about going to the polls next week, why, this is a good way to do that. Well, I see another college, Indiana University, has come out with a fall term. Tell us a little bit about that, Tanner, what these universities are doing.
Yeah, a lot of the universities are kind of mirroring plans off each other where they're starting a little earlier in August. They're going to have the semester go through clear to Thanksgiving, and then they're going to be off campus until late January, early February. So they'll still do their finals from Thanksgiving to December, but they'll be done online. So it's kind of the thought process. Once the kids go home for Thanksgiving break, they'll stay there.
Well, back a few years ago, I wish I could have taken a final online.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Well, IU, Purdue, Notre Dame, and I think Ball State have all come out with
I also
their
saw
plans.
Purdue, they're offering all their classes online, so if any students worried about being on campus, they can still enroll online, and all the rest of the classes will be hybrid classes. I also saw where the dining halls, instead of having the option of 8 or so dining halls, they might only have an option of 1 or 2 the first semester at least. And the same thing with dorm rooms. They've converted every dorm room to make sure that it has at least 6 feet of space. And the smaller ones that they couldn't, they just turned into singles instead of doubles. So,
Interesting times.
yeah.
Well, we're going to talk to the Fulton County Foundation in a little bit. Brian Johnson is here, and we're going to discuss that. But I got a little trivia along that line. What is the total dollar amount of scholarships since that the Community Foundation has given out since '93? Is it 1 million? Is it 1.5 million? Or is it 2.3 million? Little trivia there for you, Paul.
Yeah.
Okay, Tanner, bring us up to date in the world of sports.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I'm going to lead off here with a story that kind of has some local ties. A good friend of mine and fellow Rochester 2010 graduate, Garrett Weininger, announced this week he's leaving his position as the Warren Central boys basketball head coach to take the same position over at Fishers High School. So Garrett had been at Warren Central for 4 years combined. Last year was his first year as a head coach. Did really well. Previous 3 years he was an assistant, including on the state championship team. But he and his wife just had a baby boy a month ago. They live in the Fishers area. He thought this was a good time to take the opportunity that was given to him. So, and he's taken over a team that went 18-7 last year. He's taken over a pretty good team there. So I'm excited to see what kind of success he has there. On a bigger national note here, we had the match 2 on TNT on Sunday. Saw Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning defeat Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady by 1. Got pretty exciting there at the end. got to give these guys credit. They were playing through the elements. They played through the rain. It was definitely not ideal weather conditions, but they stuck it out for the entertainment for everybody. They were mic'd up. It was all went towards a good cause as they raised $20 million for COVID relief. So it was all well worth it. And I have a little, I'm going to call it a Shaq fact. First Federal Savings Bank President Evan Gottschalk sent this to me the other night. He found it online. I thought it was pretty interesting. There have been 36 straight NBA Finals with at least one player who has played with Shaquille O'Neal during his career. The last time it didn't happen was 1984.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that is one of the most impressive stats
Yeah.
I've read. So it just shows you how long Shaq played, and he played for multiple teams. So, and Dick brought this to my attention yesterday. I didn't even know that. Well, I knew that there was a big national junior golf tournament being held. It was called the Dye National Junior Invitational down at Crooked Stick, down in the Zionsville area. And John Daly Jr. was playing in it. His dad, of course, famous ex-PGA Tour player, now PGA Tour Seniors player, John Daly. John Daly won the PGA Championship back in Crooked Stick in 1991. John Daly Jr. finished second place with a score of 4 over.
Yeah, I think he's a junior in high school.
Yes, got to be a junior. Yeah, so pretty good showing for him. He's pretty good. He's a pretty good little junior player. It'll be interesting to see where he goes to school here in a couple of years. The winning score was even, shot by a guy named John Marshall Butler. So I guess it was a good time to be named John.
Apparently.
And also one other local note that has some interest. Notre Dame and Kentucky basketball announced that they're going to have a multi-year series, a home and neutral site game starting in 2021.
Yeah.
So that'll be a nice little multi-year series there. I think they played one of those back in the early 2000s. I want to say Tubby Smith was still the coach of Kentucky. I kind of remember them going up to South Bend and playing. So
I also saw the note that the Boston Marathon is canceled this year,
oh, I did not see that.
and the first time in 124 years.
Wow.
That don't affect many people around here, because not many of us run in the Boston
Sure.
Marathon, but there are some.
Yeah.
And it's a really
Big deal.
big race.
Yeah. And NASCAR keeps holding races. They're holding so many lately. I can't keep up with who's winning on what night. So
Yeah, I mean, it's like every time you turn around, NASCAR's somewhere.
I think they had one last night. I think Chase Elliott won. I think if I saw it correctly on Twitter. But
Well, the
they'll
good
hold to
news
it.
is IndyCar goes back June 6th.
June 6th,
And then not again until July. So
PGA Tours returning in 2 weeks. So
yeah.
some sports are starting to come back. We'll see about the MLB and the NBA. And NHL has a plan to come back, so
Yeah.
we'll see. Got some tidbits here this morning. On this day in 1848, Wisconsin became the 30th U.S. state. Ever been there, Paul?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
On this day in 1886, American chemist John Pemberton began to advertise Coca-Cola.
1886.
Yep.
We had Coke around at that time.
Yep. I'm not sure what kind of advertising they did for it. I'd be curious to see what advertising options were available back then. But
Of course, back then it also had what it was named for in it
yeah.
for a while.
Yes, that's a good point. And now Coca-Cola is a worldwide phenomenon, and not only is it a popular drink, people collect
Yeah.
anything and everything Coca-Cola. So, on this day in 1942, Bing Crosby recorded "White Christmas," which he recorded
A little early.
According to the website, it was the world's best single with an estimated 100 million copies sold.
Oh wow.
Pretty popular song.
Yeah.
And I got a little sports note here. On this day in 1990, Ricky Henderson stole his then record 893rd base, breaking Ty Cobb's record. He would go on to steal 1,406 bases
Wow.
in his career. Hall of Famer, played majority of his career for the Oakland Athletics. He was also a Yankee, Padre, a few other teams, but Mariner, I think. But yeah, Ricky was and still is the master at stealing bases.
Yeah.
And today is National Biscuit Day, as in cookie, not as in biscuits. So,
Right. Our friends overseas call them
Yeah, exactly.
biscuits.
So wanted to clarify that. It's also National Paperclip Day. Not sure about this one. This one's kind of a head scratcher. Put a pillow on your fridge day,
Yeah.
and learned about composting day. So
Well, I'm glad to get all that information.
I'm glad you are.
Yeah.
I worked hard at that.
Annerly, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, now, Tanner, I know you're involved in this. The Fulton County Chamber of Commerce is going to have the extravaganza. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I'm involved with the Downtown Partnership, but I've
Okay.
read a lot about this Chamber of Commerce. They're holding a gift card extravaganza, like you said. They're going to give away up to $1,000 worth of gift cards. And how it works is you got until June 30th. If you buy a gift card from a local business, especially one that's on the list of the chamber businesses, say you buy one for $10, they'll match it for $10.
No.
And so you take a picture of it, you email it to chamberassist@rtcol.com, and you can get entered into a drawing. And it's going until June 30th. And I believe they will put $10 towards whatever gift card you buy. So if you buy one for $20, they'll put $10 towards it. Same business. So it's kind of a neat little way to get people out shopping locally, especially to the businesses that are chamber members.
That's your chamber at work.
Yep.
So that's good. Okay, some flowers this morning. Mentone Flying Club is they've been in business 63 years. They've been out at the Fulton County Airport since '81, and they one of their youngest members is Jessica Richardson, who just was hired by SkyWest Airlines. So she's a pilot, and I've known a lot of people that have gone out and taken lessons at the airport, all under the supervision of Mentone Flying Club. Congratulations to them. Also, flowers to the 2020 high school seniors. They kind of got left out. I have a granddaughter that just graduated last Saturday from Columbus, Ohio school, and I watched it on the internet.
They're going down as a historical class.
Yeah, I sent her a text that morning because I think she was kind of disappointed. And
Sure.
I said, "This is the first ever, and maybe you won't see it again." So,
Yeah.
and your class was able to do that. So, congratulations to that senior class. We will remember you for a long, long
Yes,
time.
yes.
Also, Rochester High School announced that Jordan Jennings is the valedictorian of the high school class, and Whitley Barkman is the salutatorian. Congratulations to them. Okay, in money news, don't have a lot of things there. The interest rates were pretty flat this week. The stock market, they had a couple of really good days. It's up and down and up and down. But I saw in Indianapolis Star this morning that the Indiana State Fair is still scheduled for August 7th to the 23rd. A little sidebar on that is Minnesota, state of Minnesota, state of Ohio have both canceled their fair already, so we'll see what happens. SeaWorld is planning on opening to the public on June 11th.
Yeah, it's coming up. So,
Okay, you gotta stay 6 feet away from the fish.
oh yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Probably normally a good idea anyway, but
Yeah, especially some of the bigger ones.
yeah.
Okay, and Disney's planning on opening the Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom to the public July the 11th.
July 11th, and then Epcot and their other park that's escaping me right now, I think, is July 15th. So that'll be interesting to see those openings, see how they go, and that might affect a lot of other things down there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the American public are so anxious to do something that they'll do anything,
You're
pay
right.
any price, it's okay. Okay, our lobbies at First Federal are still closed. We're probably going to be closed a couple more weeks just to be safe. We appreciate the public going along with this issues. If you need to see any of our people, you can just call in, get an appointment, and you'll be ushered right in and taken care of. We offer many different mortgage products, USDA and FHA loans. No, we don't do that anymore. We quit that.
That's right.
Yeah,
I have
okay.
to make a note for that next week out of the
Okay,
script.
scratch that. We
Yeah.
are not doing USDA loans or FHA loans temporarily.
Yes,
Temporarily.
temporarily unavailable.
The market for that when the virus came along went away, and so there was no place to sell those markets. Our loan originators, Ben Dalton, Stacy Wilson here in Rochester, can provide you with more details. Okay, Tanner, tell us about on the checking account. What do we got offering now?
Yeah, right now when you open up a Simply Free checking account, which you can still open up checking accounts right now, we can do it through the drive-through, or you can call ahead. We can get your information and do a curbside paperwork, whatever we need to do there. When you open up a Simply Free checking account or Simply Free business checking account, you will receive a Brentwood picnic blanket. They're black and white, so if you're a Rochester person, it's zebra colors.
Yep.
And like Dick said, it's perfect for the Indy 500. It's kind of got that checkered
Yeah,
thing
there we go.
a little bit too. So really nice picnic blanket. So if you're looking for to open up a new checking account, or if you're not happy with your current financial institution, come over to First Federal Savings Bank and we'll take care of you.
Okay, of course, we're equal housing lender. We're a member of FDIC, and our NMLS number is 3909 or 27. Our guest today is Brian Johnson. Brian, step up here and tell us a little bit about what's happening at the foundation. You're Director of Development.
I'm Director of Development.
Okay,
Yes.
that means fundraiser.
That's one of the roles. In a small shop, everybody wears many hats.
Okay.
So we get involved in a bunch of things, but probably one of the biggest things that we have going on. You mentioned the graduation. This time of year, we'd usually be out at the schools delivering scholarship news, and so it's been interesting to figure out different ways to get that information out. Looking at what we were able to do this year, we were able to grant over $135,000 in scholarships to area students, which is really awesome. That's totals 124 different scholarships to students.
Okay, 124. That's neat.
It's really
These would be primarily all Fulton County students?
Yes, Fulton County residents. So this is Rochester, Caston, Tippecanoe Valley. We have some students that are at Argus and Culver and Eastern Pulaski. Some of those surrounding areas that do actually live in Fulton County. But yes, this is all Fulton County students. A few of them are students who are maybe in their second or third year in college. But it's really neat to see how our donors have made that possible. So
Okay, you brought it up. How do we make that possible?
well, it's a little bit different with each scholarship, but what we've had is we have donors who have given to endowment funds, and those funds have created earnings, and those earnings are what give out. We have some scholarships that were created back in 1993 and 94 and 95 that are growing and still giving out scholarships. So those earnings are what give it out. So even maybe in the not so good economic times, there's earnings available on those funds that can help make these scholarships in times like this. So it's neat to see, and I always say this, but thank you to the donors who have made these scholarships possible. That's really what supporting a community and encouraging students. It is a financial reward, but it's also hey, we believe in you. We want to see you succeed. We want to help you succeed at the next level, and we want to give you a financial award, but we also want to encourage you and say we believe in you and your success.
Okay, so somebody out there that's, hey, I'm interested in doing that. How much money does it take?
Well, to start an endowed scholarship, it takes $10,000, and that's if somebody says, "Hey, I want to do this, but I don't necessarily have the money right now." We have plans where folks can build up to that over, say, a 3-year period. Another simple way is for somebody to create a gift in their estate. So they say, hey, I don't have the money right now, but maybe through my will or through a planned gift, I can create this at some point in the future, or even adding to an existing scholarship. We have about 65 scholarship funds, and it's not always necessary to create a new scholarship. If somebody says, hey, this scholarship kind of fits what I want to support, you can add any amount at any time to our existing scholarship. So it's really, there's really three simple ways to be able to benefit students in our community.
Okay, for people that want more information on that, what should they do?
Well, they can give us a call, 224-3223. We also have our information on our website, nicf.org, have information about both our existing scholarships and ways to help benefit new scholarships as well. So.
Okay, if I recall correctly, this is about their 26th year of the foundation.
It is.
And tell us about some other things that you do and what's going on. I know
Yeah.
you've got some virus funds available.
We do. Well, and before we skip off of scholarships, I did want to mention you talked about graduation earlier. Each of the schools are doing something special to recognize their students. So Caston is actually doing a virtual awards program, and they're going to have that on their YouTube channel. Tippecanoe Valley has announced theirs through their social media, and Rochester High School is offering a program this evening on RTC Channel 4. I believe that's at 8:30 this evening, highlighting the scholarships and honoring the students that are receiving those. But yeah, this has been a very interesting time with COVID-19 and trying to figure out, and it's been interesting. It's not that there is a lack of resources or needs, but sometimes it's kind of that process of figuring out a new way to maybe get food out to food pantries. So we've established a new fund for emergency relief here in our community. We've been able to grant from that fund to different organizations. One of the early things that we saw were food pantries having needs for maybe even figuring out how to get food to people when they have volunteers that may not be comfortable interacting with folks they don't know. One thing that happened early on was food pantries were saying, hey, we're running out of meat. We have some of the other supplies, we have access to that, but we can't get our normal meat supplies. And so we were able to work with some local farmers, some local businesses. I know we're in the process of working on getting a steer process that'll be turned into ground beef, and First Federal has been a part of that, and we say thank you for that. And it's been interesting times. It's not that there's a shortage of meat, it's there's a shortage of being able to get it from the farmer to the food pantry. And so we were fortunate to have some donors that stepped up. The foundation has helped with that and make that connection. We've also worked with an organization, Hoosiers Feeding the Hungry, that we've granted to, that helps provide some processing fees. And so it's been interesting to see some of those needs.
We're speaking this morning to Brian Johnson, Director of Development of the Fulton County Community Foundation. You've been there a long time. How many years?
I think it's about 13 years.
13
now.
years,
So,
okay.
yeah,
You're still learning.
It's still learning. It's, you know what? Every time we think, hey, we've got this figured out, we get a new question and we have to figure it out. I mean, who would have thought that everything would be shut down for this long to figure out new ways to do things. So, but it's wonderful to see every time we have a need, our community steps up and really addresses those needs. So it's a very, while it's a stressful time, it's a very encouraging time to see how we support each other and figure out ways to do the same thing we've been doing, just in different ways, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, and congratulations. You guys really do a great job. And a year or so ago, you moved. You're over on the main drag now.
Yeah, we are on the main drag. So it's been
9th Street for us on
Yes.
9th Street. We think it's the main drag.
Been a good move. So
Yeah.
it's.
Well, we're glad to have you close
Yes.
to First Federal. We
Yeah.
appreciate that. But I'm sure you appreciate being closer to the bagel shop.
Yes, that's one of the perks.
Yeah. What are some other things that are happening at the foundation? I know as long as we have talked about the foundation, I still run into people almost every day. What's the foundation? What do they do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, it's been an exciting time as we look over the history. Of course, we've last winter we completed a successful matching campaign to raise dollars that Lilly Endowment offered for our community fund grants. And when we look back over the past few years, how those dollars have grown. I remember when I first started with the foundation, we had maybe $40,000 or $50,000 in community fund grants to be able to give out every year. This year we're approaching $250,000 in grants that we can make just from community funds. So to see how that has an impact in our community, now we're able to make grants that are $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, sometimes $70,000.
Yeah,
towards one grant.
Great service, and that is controlled by the board of directors.
Yeah.
They make the decisions on what happens.
And that's the neat part about it is it's a group of local people that look at local needs and make decisions based on that. We don't have to compete with neighboring counties, or we don't have to rely on somebody that may not know Fulton County at the level that we do. And so it's neat to be able to have those funds here and have local decisions made by local people that live here and know the community. So.
Yes, and we certainly got to give flowers to Lilly and Company.
Yes.
They started all this 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I think every county in the state of Indiana has a foundation, do they
Every
not?
county and a couple have two. So
Okay.
there's actually 94 community foundations throughout the state of Indiana. So.
Yeah. The money at Lily's foundation is deep.
It is, and part of their goal was to be able to create that same model in our community, and it's been very successful in the fact that we now have a sustainable organization. We have money that is given locally, that's used locally.
Okay, give me the number for Fulton County. How many dollars?
We're just around 18 million right now, just a little bit under that, depends on what the market does today probably on that.
Okay. Well, we'll assume it's going to go up, so
Yes.
we'll say 18 million.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for stopping by
Thanks for
today
having me.
and sharing what the foundation's doing. And if you got any other questions, as Brian says, go online. You can get information there. And I would encourage people out there, even if you don't have $10,000 right now, put it in your will, or as Brian says, you can spread it over 3 years, and you can make a difference.
Yeah, and just a little plug. Recently, there was some legislation that passed that allow folks that may not itemize to take an additional $300 deduction on their taxes for next year if they make a gift this year. So if somebody says, "Hey, I want to give something to the COVID fund," that's another extra little perk that's kind of over the top of standard deductions.
You're saying if they do itemize, or
If
not?
they whether they do or don't.
Okay.
Again,
Great.
that's a question for your tax advisor to talk about, but that's an extra perk. So
Yeah.
someone like myself that doesn't itemize is still able to receive that benefit from that extra
That's good.
donation.
There's
So,
some real tax benefits there.
yeah.
Well, our trivia this morning was in reference to the foundation and scholarships. Is how many dollars worth have they given out since '93? And the option was 1 million, $1.5 million, or 2.3. You got any guesses there?
I'm gonna go 2.3.
God, this guy's something else. Congratulations. Yeah, if you ever lose your day job, you should.
I should really go on some
Okay.
type of game show where I get to do this.
Well, let's close with these words of wisdom from Tom Brokaw. I'm sure you younger people don't know who Tom Brokaw was, but he was a famous newscaster, and he's written several books, and he's also designated as the World War II vets as the greatest generation ever, and so he's kind of famous for that. He says, Tom Brokaw says, it's easy to make a buck, it's tougher to make a difference. And in the foundation, we can all make a difference. Thank you for stopping by, appreciate it. Thank you, Tanner, thank you, Bob.
Thank you. We look forward to talking to you next week.
You bet.